It started with a glance down a crowded hallway. Me, the new kid, him, the man who ran the school. I never meant to fall for my principal, but love doesn't ask permission. And what happened next? It broke me and rebuilt me. If you've ever loved someone you couldn't have, subscribe, hit the bell. Stories like this, they heal. Let's begin. My name is David Carter, 19 years old, junior transfer student. Moved 6 times in 5 years. Maplewood, Ohio was supposed to be just another stop on the map. Temporary housing, temporary friends, temporary peace before college. Shipped me off to wherever scholarships would take me. I didn't expect Maplewood High to feel like home, and I definitely didn't expect to fall in love with the man who ran it. It was September 3rd, first day back after summer break. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass and cafeteria pancakes. Kids shouted, lockers slammed, sneakers squeaked against waxed linoleum. I stood frozen at locker 217, twisting the dial left, right, left again, 3rd time's the charm. Except my fingers were shaking and my brain had forgotten how numbers worked. That's when I heard the footsteps. Slow, steady, confident. Turned, and there he was, Principal Daniel Mitchell, tall, easily 6'2", broad shoulders under a charcoal grey suit jacket, sleeves rolled neatly to his forearms, dark hair cropped close, just starting to silver at the temples. Square jaw, calm eyes, hazel, flecked with green like sunlight through leaves. He wasn't smiling, not exactly, but he wasn't scowling either, just present. Need a hand, he asked. His voice was deeper than I expected. Warm, not condescending, not impatient, just grounded. I nodded, too embarrassed to speak. He stepped closer. Not crowding me, but close enough that I caught the scent of his cologne. Cedar, citrus, something faintly spicy. Expensive but not showy. He studied the lock. You twist past 0 once to the left, he said, then right to your first number, then left again to the second. I know the drill, I muttered. Just nerves. He chuckled. Low rumbling like distant thunder. First day, senior year, last stop before whatever comes next. He nodded, didn't offer empty platitudes. Didn't say, you'll love it here. Just watch me. When the locker finally clicked open, I exhaled, like I'd been holding my breath for weeks. AP Bio. Room 109, I said, pulling out my crumpled schedule. I'll walk you. And just like that, we were walking side by side down the hallway, him nodding at teachers, waving at students, stopping to ask a freshman if she'd found her homeroom yet. He remembered names, not, hey, you, full names. Good morning, Maya. How's your mum feeling, Javier? People lit up when he spoke to them, not because he was authority, but because he saw them. By the time we reached room 109, my pulse had slowed. My shoulders had dropped. I felt safe. Thanks, I said, shifting my backpack. He leaned against the door frame, arms crossed. Maplewood's got a way of surprising people. Give it a chance. Then, as I stepped inside, I glanced back. He was still watching me, not suspiciously, not critically, like he was making sure I'd be okay. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word, every gesture. It wasn't attraction, not yet. It was safety. For the first time in years, I felt like I belonged somewhere, and it terrified me. The next few weeks passed in a blur of syllabi, awkward introductions, and failed attempts to find my place in the social ecosystem of Maplewood. I joined the newspaper, mostly because the advisor, Ms. Ruiz, had coffee breath and a dry sense of humor that reminded me of my aunt. I sat alone at lunch most days, scrolling through my phone or pretending to read. I kept my head down, stayed quiet, observed and observed him. Principal Mitchell was everywhere and nowhere. He wasn't hovering, wasn't micromanaging, but you'd turn a corner and there he'd be. kneeling to tie a kindergartner's shoe outside the elementary annex, laughing with the football coach over coffee, standing silently at the back of the auditorium during pep rallies, arms folded, smiling faintly as students screamed themselves hoarse. He had a rhythm, a presence, a gravity. One Tuesday, I accidentally dropped my notebook outside his office, bent to pick it up, slowly, just as he stepped into the hallway. Our eyes met. "David," he said, "everything okay?" "Yeah, just clumsy." He bent down effortlessly and then handed me the notebook. Our fingers brushed. Electric. I jerked back like I'd been burned. He didn't react, just straightened, nodded. "See you at the assembly tomorrow. You're presenting with the journalism team, right?" I blinked. "You know that?" "I read the bulletin," he said simply. "Good luck," and walked away. I stood there, heart hammering, notebook clutched to my chest like a shield. He reads the bulletin. He knows my name. He remembers what club I'm in. It shouldn't have mattered, but it did. At the assembly the next day, I stumbled over my lines, fumbled the microphone, felt my face burn as laughter rippled through the crowd. Then, from the wings, I saw him, arms crossed, expression unreadable. But when I locked eyes with him, he gave the smallest nod, encouraging, steady. I finished my part. Sat down, hands shaking. Afterward, he found me near the water fountain. "Rough start," he said. Understatement. "You'll get better. First times are always messy." "How do you know?" He smiled. "Because mine were too." And then he told me, casually, like it was nothing, about his first public speech as a young teacher, how he'd vomited backstage, how he'd tripped walking on stage, how the audience had laughed with him, not at him. "You think everyone's judging you," he said. "Mostly they're just glad you showed up." I didn't tell him that moment. That conversation became my anchor. I started finding reasons to be near his office, not stalking, not creepy, just lingering. Returning library books early so I'd pass his doorway, volunteering to deliver attendance sheets, joining the student advisory committee, which met in the conference room right across from his office. Told myself it was admiration, respect, gratitude, but my body knew better. The way my breath hitched when he walked into a room, the way I memorized the exact shade of his ties, the way I replayed his laugh in my head before falling asleep, one rainy Thursday. I stayed late to finish an article. The halls were empty. Fluorescent lights hummed overhead. Outside, rain tapped against the windows like impatient fingers. I was packing up when I heard footsteps. Him. He was carrying a stack of folders. "Tag gone, top button undone. Hair slightly mussed, looked tired." "Still here?" he asked, just finishing up. He nodded toward the window. "Nasty out there. You got a ride?" "Mom's picking me up. She's running late. Wait in my office. It's warmer and safer than sitting out here alone." I followed him. His office was him. Neat, but not sterile. Books lined one wall. Not just education manuals, but poetry collections, biographies, even a dog-eared copy of East of Eden. A framed photo of a golden retriever on his desk, a coffee mug that read, "World's Okayest." "Principal," he gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Make yourself comfortable." He busied himself with paperwork. I sat, watched him, the way his brow furrowed when he concentrated, the way he rubbed his temple when frustrated, the soft sigh he let out when he finished a task. It felt intimate, sacred, almost. "Do you ever get tired of it?" I asked suddenly. He looked up. "Of what?" "All of it. The meetings, the discipline, the politics, the kids who don't care, the parents who blame you. Do you ever just want to walk away?" He leaned back in his chair, studied me. "Every damn day," he admitted. I blinked. "Really?" He smiled, weary, honest. "Being a principal isn't about power, David. It's about service. Some days that service feels like a gift. Other days, it feels like a sacrifice." "Why?" "Stay then," he paused, looked out the window at the rain, because someone has to be the person who shows up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Silence settled between us. Comfortable, heavy. My phone buzzed. Mom was here. I stood. "Thanks for letting me wait," he nodded. "Any time." At the door, I turned back. "Principal Mitchell." "Yeah? Do you ever get lonely?" He didn't answer right away. Then softly, "More than you know." And in that moment, with rain streaking the windows and fluorescent light glinting off his wedding band, I fell in love. Not because he was perfect, but because he was human. And he let me see it. I tried to bury it, told myself it was hero worship, transference, loneliness manifesting as longing. I threw myself into schoolwork, joined 2 more clubs, started jogging before sunrise just to exhaust my body enough that my mind would shut up. It didn't work. Every interaction with him now felt charged, dangerous, beautiful. I noticed things, the way his voice softened when he spoke to scared freshmen. The scar above his left eyebrow, thin, white, probably from childhood, the fact that he always carried peppermints in his pocket, offered one to me once when I had a sore throat. The way he never raised his voice, not even when Coach Reynolds yelled at him during budget meetings. He was everything I wanted to be, strong, kind, grounded, and completely devastatingly off limits. One afternoon, I found myself in the library, staring blankly at a textbook, when Ms. Ruiz slid into the seat across from me. "You okay, kiddo?" She asked, sipping her eternal coffee. "Yeah. Why?" "You've been distracted, staring into space, sighing like a Victorian heroine." I flushed. "Just tired." She studied me. Then, quietly, "It's him, isn't it?" My stomach dropped. "Who?" "Mitchell." I didn't answer. She didn't push, just sighed. "Oh, honey, been there." I stared at her. "You..." "What?" She smirked. "Not him, but someone like him. Teacher, older, untouchable. Broke my damn heart." "What did you do?" "What you're gonna do," she said, closing my textbook. "You're gonna let it hurt. You're gonna write terrible poetry about it. You're gonna cry in your shower. And then you're gonna grow. Because loving someone you can't have, it teaches you how to love yourself." I didn't believe her. Not then. The winter formal was a disaster. Not because of the music or the decorations. Those were fine. But because Principal Mitchell was there, in a tux, looking unfairly handsome, dancing with teachers, smiling at students. Oblivious to the war raging inside me, I drank 2 sodas too many, laughed too loudly, avoided eye contact. When the last song played, some slow, syrupy ballad, I slipped outside. The courtyard was empty, cold, stars sharp overhead. I sat on a bench, head in my hands, trying to breathe. Footsteps. I didn't look up. "Cold out here," he said, sitting beside me. "Yeah." Silence. Then, "You've been avoiding me." I stiffened. "No, I haven't." "David." Just my name, gentle, knowing. I looked at him. His expression was unreadable. Concerned. Maybe sad. "I can't do this anymore," I whispered. "Do what?" "This. Pretending. Hiding. I swallowed. "I have feelings for you. Real ones. And I know it's wrong. I know you're married. I know you're my principal. I know all of it. But I can't unfeel it." The silence that followed was suffocating. He didn't move, didn't flinch, just absorbed it. Finally, he spoke. "Thank you," he said, "for trusting me with that." I blinked. "That's it?" He turned to face me fully. "David, you're an extraordinary young man. Intelligent, kind, courageous. It takes guts to say what you just said. And I care about you. Deeply. As a student. As a person I want to see thrive." He paused. Took a breath. "But I am your principal. I am married. I am 30 years older than you. And no matter how real your feelings are, mine cannot and will not go there. Ever. His voice was firm, final, but not cruel. I need you to hear this, he continued. What you're feeling, it's valid, it's human, but acting on it, that would destroy you, destroy me, destroy this school, and I won't let that happen. Tears burned my eyes. I didn't ask you to act on it. I just needed you to know. I'm glad you told me, he said softly. Secrets like that, they rot you from the inside. He stood, offered me his hand. I took it. His grip was warm, steady. Let's get you home, he said. And just like that, walking side by side through the empty parking lot under a sky full of stars, it was over. Not with drama, not with tears, not with promises, just truth, and strangely, it was enough. The weeks after the confession were quiet, not cold, not awkward, just different. He didn't avoid me, didn't treat me like a problem. In fact, if anything, he checked in more. How's the college essay coming? Did you submit that scholarship application? Your mom doing okay with the new job? Small things, but they mattered. Ms. Ruiz noticed. He's protecting you, she said one afternoon, stirring sugar into her coffee. Not from himself, from the world, from gossip, from rumors. He's giving you space to breathe without shame. I nodded. It helped. Spring came. Cherry blossoms bloomed outside the main office. I stopped lingering outside his door, stopped scanning the hallways for him, stopped replaying his voice in my head, not because I didn't care, but because I was learning to carry it differently, not as a wound, but as a lesson. Graduation came fast. I threw myself into applications, got into my top choice, University of Michigan. Major, education. Minor, psychology. Funny how life works. At graduation, Principal Mitchell shook my hand on stage. His grip was firm. His eyes held mine for half a second longer than necessary. Proud of you, he murmured. I nodded, couldn't speak. In the crowd, I saw him later, standing beside his wife, laughing at something she said, arm around her waist. I didn't feel jealousy. I felt gratitude, because he never lied to me, never strung me along, never made me feel small for what I felt. He taught me that love isn't always about possession. Sometimes it's about witnessing. Sometimes it's about letting go. Sometimes it's about becoming someone worthy of the love you carry, even if it's never returned. There are things I never said, letters I wrote and deleted, voicemails I recorded and erased, thoughts I tucked away like pressed flowers in a book, beautiful, fragile, meant only for me. Here's one. Dear Principal Mitchell, I know you'd hate me calling you that now. You'd say, David, just call me Dan. But I can't. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Because Principal Mitchell is the version of you who saved me, who saw me when I was invisible, who listened when no one else did. I want you to know, I'm okay. Better than okay. College is loud and messy and terrifying and wonderful. I joined the education club. I tutor freshmen on weekends. I even gave a speech at orientation. Didn't vomit, didn't trip. You'd be proud. I still think about that night. The courtyard, the stars, your hand on my shoulder. I used to replay it like a wound. Now, I replay it like a gift. You taught me that love doesn't have to be romantic to be real, that boundaries aren't walls. They're guardrails. That showing up, even when you're tired, even when you're lonely, is the bravest thing a person can do. I hope you know how many lives you've changed. Mine is just one. Thank you for seeing me, for hearing me, for not breaking me when I handed you my heart. David, I never sent it. I don't need to. Some truths don't need receipts. They just need to be felt. If you're listening to this, and you've ever loved someone you couldn't have, I want you to hear this. It's not a failure. It's not weakness. It's not something to be ashamed of. Loving someone who can't love you back? That's courage. That's vulnerability. That's humanity at its rawest, realest form. It taught me that desire doesn't make you broken, it makes you alive. That boundaries aren't rejection, they're respect. That healing doesn't mean forgetting, it means integrating. That sometimes the person who changes your life isn't meant to stay in it. And that's okay. More than okay. It's sacred. Because love, real love, isn't always about holding hands. Sometimes it's about letting go. Sometimes it's about growing roots where you thought you'd only leave footprints. Sometimes it's about becoming the kind of person who can love deeply and still walk away with grace. It's been 3 years. I'm 22 now, sophomore in college, working part-time as a tutor at a community center, living in a tiny apartment with 2 roommates and a cat named Fitzgerald, after F. Scott, don't judge. I still visit Maplewood sometimes, drive past the high school, stop by the diner where Ms. Ruiz still drinks coffee at 7 a.m. sharp. Last time I was there, I saw him, Principal Mitchell, walking across the parking lot, briefcase in hand, same navy blazer, same easy stride. He saw me, didn't pretend not to, waved, smiled, didn't come over, didn't need to. We locked eyes for a second, and in that second, no words, no gestures, I knew. He remembered, he cared, he was proud, and that was enough. I'm not in love with him anymore. Not the way I was, but I'll always love what he gave me, safety, validation, permission to feel deeply, even when it hurt. And if you're where I was, heart cracked open, loving someone you can't have, please, be gentle with yourself. Write the letter, cry in the shower, talk to a friend, see a counselor. You are not broken, you are brave. And this love, even if it never becomes yours, is shaping you into someone extraordinary. Final thoughts. For anyone who's ever loved in secret, love doesn't always look like fairy tales. Sometimes it looks like a principal who sees you. Sometimes it looks like a confession under starlight. Sometimes it looks like walking away, not because you want to, but because you must. I don't regret loving him. It made me braver, kinder, more honest. And if you've ever loved someone you couldn't have, don't apologize for it. Don't bury it. Let it change you. Let it teach you. Let it make you better. Because sometimes the loves that don't work out are the ones that shape us the most. Comment below, have you ever loved someone you couldn't have? What did it teach you? Your story matters. Share it below. You're not alone. If this resonated, please like, subscribe, and share with someone who needs to hear it. New stories every Thursday. Raw, real healing. You're worthy of love. In all its forms, even the ones that don't last, even the ones that ache, especially those. Take care of yourself. I'm rooting for you, always.